Hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm from Washington State, and I was a very active kid. I loved playing soccer and swing dancing, and I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called rheumatoid arthritis right before I turned 21, and that affected my life a lot and actually led me to the business I have today. And a few other things about me are that I'm a mom and I'm an occupational therapist. I named my company Arthritis Life, and LIFE is actually an acronym. Stands for, the L is life hacks, I is interviews, and that's with patients and providers. F is fun, and E is education. So I initially envisioned it as more like a talk show, but now I've continued to do the talk show aspect of it, but also I'm working on some more formal online courses for patients to take. Yeah, so Arthritis Life is all about giving people really practical day-to-day tips for living with arthritis. So that could be everything from managing fatigue to performing your basic activities of daily living without pain, to managing just the psychological overwhelm that comes from managing a lifelong chronic illness that's characterized by unpredictable flare-ups and remissions. And so I really my goal is really to educate, empower, and inspire patients, and actually also the providers that care for them. The biggest challenges I had in the beginning were just feeling really overwhelmed. And I had a lot of ideas. That wasn't the hard part for me, but it was prioritizing and figuring out where to start. Kind of like I had a lot of chicken or the egg things. Like, do I get my logo before I do my market research, or do I do my market research before my logo? And so I found myself in a lot of confusion, and that's when I ended up hiring a business coach, and that ended up being one of the best decisions I made, because she has really helped me make those crucial decisions and identify what my priorities are all through the process. Yeah, the three things that being an entrepreneur means to me personally are freedom, flexibility, and creativity. And it also means that I can have a lot of control over my product. So in the past, in some of my jobs, I was part of like a large institution where there was maybe like some bureaucracy or a lot of different kind of barriers or hoops you have to jump through in order to put something out to the world. And I tend to be a little bit impatient. So once I get an idea, I want to just run with it and throw it out to the universe. So being an entrepreneur allows me to quickly identify what the problems are out in the world, create solutions, and then put them out there without having to wait too long. The hardest things so far have been figuring out the legal aspects, because I, as an occupational therapist, I am a regulated and licensed health professional in my state, which means that there are certain laws and regulations that I want to follow. I want to be at the utmost professional level that I can be at all times. But because my project is not traditional in the sense of I'm not starting a brick and mortar clinic, I'm trying to use my occupational therapy skills and expertise to develop courses that patients can take without having to maybe go through insurance or do the things that they would normally have to do to just see an occupational therapist one-on-one. So to summarize that, the system for occupational therapy is more designed towards one-on-one therapy, billed to insurance, whereas what I'm trying to do is a little more unique, but there isn't really there isn't a clear legal blueprint for that. So I've ended up talking to some lawyers, and they've helped me figure it out. But I've struggled again to try to make sure that what I'm doing is following all of the guidelines. And it gives me some stress when I'm not positive, because I can't look to anyone else who's doing what I want to do, because there aren't any other examples that I've found so far. In terms of the worst fear, I think for me, from the perspective of my clients, my fear would be that I have someone, a patient that I recruit to purchase my educational product, and they purchase it, and then at the end they say, this wasn't helpful for me, or this wasn't worth my money, because my whole goal is to help people improve their quality of life. So if I fail on that basic goal, then I'm not actually doing what I'm setting out to do. So So that's my fear, but I did get around that by reminding myself that, if I get the feedback that what I'm doing isn't helpful for people, I can always iterate or change or be flexible and modify my product, because I do believe that I can help people improve their quality of life. It just might not always work for every person on the first try. So one of the best things I did as an entrepreneur is I hired a business coach. And I know that's not affordable for everyone. So if you can't afford a direct one-on-one coach, you can also look into group coaching. Some coaches offer group models, and that can be great because you can learn from other people's experiences too, or you can listen to some free podcasts. So my favorite right now is Amy Porterfield's, I think it's called something to do with marketing for online businesses. It's really great. She sells courses for thousands of dollars, but she also gives away so many great ideas every week on her free podcast. Yeah, so on the one hand, you want to follow the advice, you have to start before you're ready, meaning don't wait till everything's perfect before putting your product out there. But that said, sometimes it is better to make sure that you have all of your technology thought through before you do something like a video or audio recording. So for example, for me, my very first patient interview I did was with a fellow rheumatoid arthritis patient, and I was so excited, but in my gut, I knew before the interview that I hadn't really tested my audio equipment all the way. I hadn't really learned how to use it perfectly, but I thought, oh, I'll just plug it in. It should work fine. I'm going to be optimistic. And it ended up, the audio quality was horrible. And we had spent 2 whole hours talking. She was sharing her story and sharing her heart to me. And afterwards I had to say, I'm so sorry. If you want to do this again, I can re-record it, but we can't use what I recorded because it is so bad. No one's going to want to listen to it. So identifying when are the times when you do want to just jump in and try something before you're perfectly ready, but what are some times when you might benefit from slowing down just a little bit and making sure you have all the puzzle pieces together before launching something. That would be my advice. So a lot of times people are afraid to put their idea out there because they're afraid what might happen if I fail. But the way I try to think about it is, what will happen if I don't do anything? Like, we now all don't know what's going to happen to us tomorrow. I could get in another car accident. You could lose your home. Not to be depressing about it, but thinking about the fact that for me, I don't know how long I have left on this earth, and I want to leave something behind that will outlast me, that's going to have an impact on the world. So on my deathbed, am I going to be wishing, oh yeah, I wish I had played it safe a little longer. I wish I hadn't taken a risk and failed. Or would I regret not taking a risk and not having the impact that I want to have? So that's how I try to think about it. What long-term are you going to most likely regret? So don't let fear guide your decisions. Yeah, something my business coach told me that was really helpful was, you don't have to hit a home run your first time, or you don't have to make your best product the first time. You just have to make something good enough, because the market is going to tell you in their response what's good about it and what's not. But you won't, if you keep waiting and being cautious and not putting anything out there until it's perfect, you're missing an opportunity to get that crucial feedback from customers. So for me, I just think, I don't know till I try. I know what I think is going to be helpful on this product, but I won't actually know until I put it out there. Some of the things I've already put into social media, for example, have been free tutorials and free how-to videos on life hacks, as well as just some random pictures from my life with arthritis. And what surprised me so far has been, sometimes I end up putting something out there that I don't think is necessarily that big of a deal or that helpful, and I end up getting so much positive feedback for it. For example, I was getting my medication through an infusion, and I just took a little selfie and hey, this is what it's like to get your infusion medication. And all these people were like, wow, I didn't realize, or that's so inspirational. And on the other hand, I had this long infographic that I spent weeks on and I thought was going to be so helpful for people, and like nobody cared. So, you know, that has taught me something more. If I had guessed, I would have thought, oh, they're going to love my infographic because it's so helpful and I'm sharing all this information. But really what they wanted was just a fun picture of me. So you don't know until you put it out there.